Good evening. Welcome to Mystic Matters. So glad to have you back. We miss Susette. She's out today. Let's just put it at that. If you know her, you can laugh a little bit, and she's out. So she'll be back in a couple of weeks. But tonight, I'm pleased to have from the Pawcatuck Neighborhood Center, Sue Sedensky, the executive director. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, well, Pawcatuck Neighborhood Center has always been a great neighborhood partner with us, a nonprofit organization that joined the chamber some time ago, and we have been working with them ever since. So as a nonprofit organization, you pay a little bit less for the fee for the chamber. You get a lot of promotion. A lot of nonprofits use our calendar and the e-blast newsletters. So these are benefits for the nonprofits in our area. Now there are some events coming up. I want you to put on your calendar. November 30th is Santa Arrives by Tugboat and the Lighted Boat Parade, Holiday Lighted Boat Parade. That is November 30th. And then the Downtown Mystic Stroll is December 10th. It's usually the first Tuesday, I know. So cross that part out, and December 10th. So come on down. And my last pitch is I really want you guys to come to the Welcome Center to buy a Go Local gift card. Am I allowed to say that? Yes, we're a nonprofit organization too. So Go Local is the Shop Local gift card, and it's good at about 75 different places in town, and you can buy for any amount. It's a great way to shop local, and it's a great holiday solution. So let's get to talking to Sue. Sue, hello.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thanks.
So I'm so thrilled that you're here, and we love the Pawcatuck Neighborhood Center. I've been there a few times. I actually performed there. I performed improv for some of the, not residents, but
the seniors, the senior center.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about it.
Oh, okay. Well, like you said, the Pawcatuck Neighborhood Center is partly a senior center. So we have people who are 60 and over who do typical senior things, which are yoga and Zumba. We have lunch 3 times a week. We have a lot of speakers. But what's unique about the PNC is that we're also a social service agency. So those seniors also are our volunteers, and we could not exist without them. We have literally about 100 volunteers every month who come in, and they help us to do things like run a thrift store. We have a food pantry where we serve at least 1,500 people a year come on a very routine basis there. We have a pet shop where we give out pet food at no cost, and that started about 3 years ago because we were realizing that when we gave out human food, people naturally were feeding their pets. And if we're able to feed pets, then we're able to feed people as well. And
that's really rare, actually, for a food bank.
It is.
To have that.
Yeah, we're pretty proud of that. And the pet store is completely separate from the pantry. So if you come into the building, you'd be amazed at just how huge our food bank is because we have a walk-in freezer and refrigerator. And people tend to think that we just give out canned goods because that's what we ask for. We ask for non-perishables. But you know that people eat food that's protein and vegetables and fruit and bread and cereal, and we give all those out. We do that by asking for donations and also by going to the Gemma Moran Food Pantry, which is run by the United Way. And like you said, we've been a member of the Chamber for a very long time. The PNC has been in existence since the late 80s. And it was started by a group of neighbors who just said, we want a place where we can hang out, maybe do scouting and things like that. And it evolved into a place where we do a lot of charity work, where if you're in need and you need food or heating assistance, you can come to the PNC, but by the same token, when you're not in need, then you can give back. I think that we see people who are mainly working, they're trying to make ends meet, they might have children, and we have a program, for example, called Keeping Babies Warm and Well. So once a week you can come in and get free diapers, formula, baby food. which, as you know, it's really hard to manage a family today.
Oh, yeah.
And so to be able to get diapers, it just helps a lot. And the way that I look at it is, when I had children and I was working and my husband was working, it was hard to make ends meet. We're in a different place right now. So if we can just do a little by helping someone get diapers for the week, we're glad to do that. And I know there's a lot of other people out there who feel that way.
Now, what areas do you serve? Do you serve just Pawcatuck or?
No, so the name is deceptive. We serve Stonington, North Stonington, and Westerly. So we really rely on donations from all of those towns. For example, there's one woman from North Stonington. She calls herself Grammy Jammy, but she probably several years ago, through her church, started to collect pajamas, brand new pajamas for kids. She then went from one church to the next church, and she must have 7 churches now in North Stonington who bring brand new pajamas, and we have hundreds of kids who get those every
That's
December.
amazing.
Yeah,
That's wonderful.
So it also, we have the Scouting for Food is happening in November. So people will often see a bag at their door, and the Scouts will say, we'll come back next Saturday, please fill the bag. Well, we're recipients of that food, for example. So November is a very important time for us because we fill our bank, and then in June, when we don't have as much, maybe we'll rely on funds that we've collected for that. And then also in November, we have Thanksgiving, where we give out boxes of food to 500 families. And I have a picture that I think Frank will put up, and it's just an example of the community coming out and filling those boxes. Hundreds of people come out.
Right.
It's a Saturday morning at 9. Last year I met a woman who was with her daughter who was about 7, and she said, my mother came with me and now I come with my daughter.
Oh, wow.
And, well, Thanksgiving is all about telling people or telling ourselves how thankful we are. And it's a great opportunity to teach our kids that we have a lot.
Well, let's look at the other pictures too. So
Okay, so I showed you, well, the costumes that I have right here are our new thrift store. And you asked about the people that we serve. The thrift store is open to the entire community.
Excellent.
So anyone can come, and we've got great wigs and costumes. We keep the clothing purposely low. You can get clothes from $1 to $7. But when we have other items like designer handbags or cashmere sweaters or things that are more high-end that are not a necessity, it'll be a little higher, but it will never be full value. It'll
Right.
always be at least half the price.
where is it? Did you have a picture of the thrift store?
That's the only picture I have. You'd have to come in
I will. I have to come in.
to
I'll
see
have
it.
to come in.
But no, we just have that. But we really, what we did is we took the second floor, and that was a big open space, and we turned it into, we call the store Unexpected Treasures because everyone who comes in, they can't believe it. It
Right.
really, I hired a woman who had been at Sears. She was the person who, when a Sears store wasn't doing that well, she'd go out and change the store, and just had an amazing eye for making a beautiful store. And it's we're really proud of it. It looks great.
Oh, good.
So the other picture that I have was our daily living closet. And in that part of the building, we give out personal hygiene items, laundry detergent. And in my picture, I have a Girl Scout who's bringing a donation. I wanted to point out that there are so many kids who also, on their own, will have food drives for us. I mentioned the Scouts, but there's another picture of a group of girls who call themselves Love Ministry. And I think that it's an amazing nonprofit that they've created. They're young ladies who dance to uplifting music.
Oh, wow.
Wouldn't you love to join that? Doesn't that
is
just sound
sweet.
amazing?
You say young. How young are they?
Well, no, they look about from maybe 7 to teens,
Oh.
and they're run by a woman who's probably in her late 20s, and so they got so inspired by the music and wanting to to just do good for the world that they then started going to local food stores on their own and doing food drives and bringing the food to the PNC.
Nice.
So, Kristin, you've been there, and it's just such a positive place where I think that when people feel like, I want to give back, but how do I do it? It's just an ideal place to do it. We talk about the seniors a lot because, in general, most of our volunteers are probably in their late 60s to 90s. I have a woman who's 92 who runs the front desk on Friday mornings.
Right.
Just goes to show that at any age you can be giving back.
Well, and you said yoga and Zumba, and I was thinking that wasn't what I was thinking would be a senior activity, but playing cards maybe, or pinochle, but yoga and Zumba, that's great.
Oh yeah, our Zumba class is pretty intense actually.
Do you have to be how old do you have to be to qualify to be a senior?
Good. Isn't that a good question? I know I hate that word, senior. Well, 60 is what we call a senior, but if we ever have room, for example, for Zumba or yoga, which we do,
right?
And if you're home and you're available to go, you're welcome to join that class.
Nice.
And you don't have to be from Stonington, North Stonington, or Westerly to go to those classes. We do have people outside of that area. One other event that I wanted to mention was November 2nd, we're having a baby shower. It's a Saturday from 10 to 12, and it's primarily for our clients who are from the towns that I mentioned, but we're opening it up to the public because we're expecting so much to be received on that day. We're partnering with the Westerly Elks, and they have just done an amazing job at raising baby items, which include car seats, cribs, things that people really need.
Wow.
Yeah, so
the young mothers will go to this baby shower, and there'll be cake and beans, most likely. There's always beans, I think. 5 different kinds of beans.
Well, maybe. I didn't put that on the menu, but yes, we will. There will definitely be beans.
So it's like a little party.
It is a party.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a party. And so it's for mothers to be, and any children under age 3, because we're expecting it will be. We're also having the Stonington Library come, who will talk about the value of reading to young children, and we will have a lot of brand new books for these kids.
Nice.
And we will also have a pediatrician on hand to talk about child development. So it'll be a nice day for people who have small children. And another one of our goals is for young mothers and fathers to be able to get together, because you know how that is. Sometimes when you're raising young children, you can feel a little isolated.
Right.
And so it's nice to be able to meet some other people who are going through the same time of life as you are.
So it serves kind of as a community center as well.
Yes. Yeah.
That's excellent. Yeah. So tell us a little bit more too about funding. Like, how does PNC get funding?
We get funding from the town of Stonington, the town of Westerly, the town of North Stonington, and the United Way, and then many, many donors in the area. We get monetary donations and in-kind donations. So when I talk about the food pantry, for example, we're relying on people to hold food drives, or even, we're on Facebook and we'll say, we need cereal right now. I can't even tell you. People will just drive up with boxes of cereal. Sometimes they're on the beach in the summer. I just couldn't believe it. They're in their bathing suit. Oh, I heard you needed cereal.
Right.
It really is very humbling to work at a place like this, because you really see the goodness in people. And we really do have a very generous community.
Now, you've been there almost 3 years. And where did you come from? And did you always live here? Or?
Well, I came from the Boston area. I didn't always live here. My background before was I was a lawyer, and I did employment law, and I also worked for an adoption agency for a very long time. But when I was in college, I always did volunteer work for nonprofits. And one experience that really affected me was I was volunteering at the Ronald McDonald House. And do you know anything about?
I do.
Yeah, it's so I was only 18, and I went there, and naturally, I don't think anything can be sadder than having a child who was terminally ill. And the house was beautiful, It was being run by a couple who also had a child, and they would make delicious dinners for the residents. And I think it just really touched me that when you're going through such a horrible experience, there are people there who want to make life easier for you. And I guess I always just thought, well, how can I make life easier for other people? And also, this couple, the joy that they had, because you get joy when you help others. So that was kind of my start. I always worked in nonprofits, and when this opening occurred, because Vicki Anderson had been 15 years as the director of the PNC, surprisingly, 3 different people came up to me and said, "Did you know there's an opening? You should apply for that."
Oh, wow.
Isn't that strange?
That is.
So I believe in signs, and
Yes.
I think, when you hear something like that, so I applied, and I am so happy that I'm able to be here, because it's a wonderful organization.
A little bit of destiny, perhaps.
I think so, yeah.
So the events that the public can come to would be like the baby shower. And
Yes.
is there some kind of gala that you guys do or anything like that?
So we just had our gala, yes, in
Okay.
September. So another thing that people could come to, November 23rd is when we do the packing of the boxes at 9 a.m.
Is that like the stomping of the grapes? It's the packing of the boxes and the stomping of the grapes.
It's exactly like
Oh,
that.
good.
And but you might stomp on some grapes as you are packing the boxes, because there is fresh fruit there.
Oh, and these are for the Thanksgiving boxes.
Yes, yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
what it is you'll have your canned items. We have fresh fruit. We have pies. We have turkeys.
Wow.
And believe it or not, the line goes outside the parking lot, upstairs, through the 3 parts of the building, downstairs. It's amazing. I'm telling you, hundreds of people. And do you need hundreds of people? Probably not.
Right.
But that's what makes it fun. And we get it done so fast.
Yeah.
We're done by 10:30. It's amazing. We are, yeah, because there's so many people there. And it's quiet. People are very respectful. It's something to see. It really, I would invite anyone to come. If you bring children, I don't think you should bring anyone under 8, because, yeah, it's a good experience.
So you talk about having some of these folks get together and understand that they're not alone, that they're not going through things alone. I'm wondering what you see. When I look at southeastern Connecticut, there's such a class differential, but I don't see a lot of it unless I go, like, say, over to New London, or, you don't see much of it in Mystic, per se, in like kind of a Disney World sense. So
That's right.
do you get a sense of that? Like, do you get to, do your eyes opened more, or can you tell me what you can see?
Okay, well, that's a very good question. A lot of people will say to me, well, you're talking about Mystic, you're talking about Stonington.
Right, like there's no poor people here.
There's no, and no, that's not true, because that for most people, you're living paycheck to paycheck. And something happens, like there's a sickness, or you lose your job, or, and it can happen to anyone. And it is like Disney World, because of course there are people who are in need. And as I was saying at the beginning of the show, most of our people are working. I think it's a very good economy today, but we're living in a very expensive place. A big thing would be rent, for example. People come to us all the time because they can't make their rent. It's very hard to find an affordable place to live right now in this part of the country. Also, heating expenses. As it gets cold, people come in and they say, it happened to me today, this morning, someone was in my office because their electricity has been turned off. This is every day.
Yeah.
And so they come in and the electricity has been turned off, or heat has been turned off. So what do? We have caseworkers who will help them get on things like Operation Fuel or TVCCA, which is another program. But even then, someone might fall through the cracks, or they may have exhausted all of those remedies. So in those cases, we have a PNC fuel fund, and we will actually then find that money to keep the heat on. And I can tell you that's also very humbling, because when when we had Hurricane Sandy, for example, I don't know if you lost power, but we lost power and it was September. It wasn't that cold yet.
Right.
My house got so cold.
Yeah.
Now, imagine how cold it is today if you can't turn your heat on.
Yeah.
And even with a lot of these programs, they don't start until November often. So we're talking about October, families with no heat.
Right.
And that's common.
Yeah.
Do people talk about it? No.
And it's not necessarily neglect, I don't think. It's because the heating bills and the energy bills in the state are...
Absolutely.
And we're getting on a soapbox here.
Well, there's a saying, heat or eat. And it's like, how are you going to spend your money? So there again, if we can help someone with food costs by giving them food, they can then pay for their heat.
Yes.
And so that's a very good point. Thank you for raising that, because people do find it hard to believe, but if 1,500 people are coming for food, there's a need.
Yeah.
And those are the towns that I just explained. And also, sometimes I feel that, now I'm on a soapbox. I'm sorry. I really am. I'm going to be on a soapbox right now. Sometimes I think that I've noticed I kind of sugarcoat it, like I just did a little bit by saying, people are so generous and it's great. And it is, because I see that side. But I also see the side where someone comes in and says to me, you don't know how hard it is for me to be here today. And I see that side as well. And you have to think, how would you feel?
Right.
You know, how would you feel? Most people don't expect to be in a situation where they're going to be asking for food. Hopefully it's a limited time, but sometimes it's not. For seniors in particular, people are living longer. I've had people say to me, I feel really embarrassed or ashamed because I didn't plan better. And I feel like we're too hard on ourselves sometimes.
Right.
I mean, you just don't know where life is going to bring you sometimes. So,
well, I love that. The Pawcatuck Neighborhood Center, it could give somebody a little bit of dignity back, you know, and then having other people that are going through the same thing that they're going through, and that you have activities and et cetera that they can share in. So it's not just about, you know, oh, you got to go to the food bank, you know, it's also about, we'll come here and we'll take you in and look, there's other stuff that you can do.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I based on what clients tell me, I do feel that our volunteers, it's very important to them that they do treat people with dignity. I mean, they're a volunteer. They're there because they want to be. No one is judging there, or if they are, they're in the wrong place, because that's not our intent at all.
Right. Now, how did that building get built? Was it built, did you say, was it specifically for like a community center? Or?
Yes, it was built by a group of Stonington citizens in 1986 who just wanted to build a place like a community center, but they all happened to be people who were very, I'd say, civic-minded, wanted to feed the poor, really. They were interested in helping alleviate hunger. And what's interesting is, as those people aged, they said, oh, well, now we're old, we need a senior center. And so they built a senior center, but what happened was they still kept on volunteering. Like, they're not, some people are playing bingo, and that's a great thing, but these people, they're just going, you know. And it's really done a great, it's a great example of how aging can be so different depending upon your frame of mind.
Now, do you have any holiday activities, like for Christmas, etc.? So
we do. We have we have parties at the senior center, and then we have parties for our volunteers. There's a lot of camaraderie with the volunteers.
Yeah.
So yeah, we do have that. But see, I consider the volunteering part of our senior center, because I think that's why the senior center is so popular. It's because you have a choice. One day you can have lunch, or you can goof off, and they have Santa there. I mean, it's just fun. Or they have a Valentine's party and everyone's wearing pink and red. But then you're working at the front desk the next day. So it's a lot of like-minded people are there, I've noticed.
Now, do you have any special needs that get met there? Like, what kind of, a deterioration of motor skills or anything like that? Like, as far as seniors go, is there people there that can take care of?
So there's There's all different levels of people there. We also have a senior transportation program. So
nice.
if you have a walker or you're not able to drive anymore, you're in a wheelchair, we have a handicap accessible van. We'll pick people up and we'll bring you back to the PNC. We will also bring people to medical appointments and shopping. So we have a group of individuals who use that van quite regularly to do their shopping.
Now, is that from the staff? How many staff do you have over there?
Believe it or not, we only have a staff of 6.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so the traveling around
That's
the
a
medical,
driver. So I have a driver.
But still, like he's got to be like here and there.
Right. So we have one driver who works quite hard, but it's those volunteers. That's why I'm kind of describing that. It's the volunteers really run the PNC.
Do you think you ever have a slow time? Do you ever have a downtime?
No.
Angels work
I've been
hard, I
waiting.
guess.
I've been waiting.
Yeah, you've been waiting for that.
This is a big time, but this is a very exciting time. I mean, it's wonderful that everybody starts bringing in their donations. One thing I also want to mention is our Christmas donor angel program. So our clients will tell us what they would like, and we have donor angels throughout the community, and the Chamber helps us immensely with this as far as collecting toys for kids. The whole building is full of toys. And your holiday parade, you end up to be on the boat, you have to give a toy to the PNC. So we look forward to November 30th.
Also, a lot of people think that in order to come to the event at all, which I'll keep letting you think that, that they have to bring a toy.
Oh, they do?
That the
They
admission
do. Say they
or
do.
the entrance. So Santa arrives by tugboat and holiday lighted boat parade. The Pawcatuck Neighborhood Center is the recipient of the toy that you bring. And then one year we did for the gala. Instead, we did for teenagers. We did gift cards, right?
That was last year, and that was wonderful because we all know that it's hard to buy for teenagers. No one knows what they want, but you came in at the ideal time because what we do is we have all the toys and we have our gift cards and we kind of are filling in what we need, and at the last moment you all showed up with gift cards and really saved the day because they were really good ones and we were able to give them to the teenagers. So thank you for that.
It was a great idea, and I forget who had it, but it was definitely kind of novel.
I think it was your intern.
Oh, right. That makes sense, right?
A new idea from an intern.
Yeah.
I love interns.
Do you get interns as well?
We do, which is another thing. If someone's looking to intern, please come in. We'd love to have you.
It sounds like they'd be busy.
They would be busy. They would. Yeah.
So we just have a few more minutes, so I want to make sure that you say whatever you want to say. Tell people to come down and go to the thrift shop.
Yes, the thrift shop. Yes, especially right now for anything that you might need. Very affordable.
I'm excited about that.
Good.
I want to go right now.
All right, let's go.
Can we go, Frank?
Yeah.
You want to go?
Frank hasn't been there yet.
Well, I'm so happy that you were here to be able to talk to us.
Thank you.
And the Pawcatuck Neighborhood Center in Pawcatuck, it's hidden behind things. You got to take a right and go in there.
27 Chase Street.
Yeah, and you can visit them, I'm sure, anytime. See what they're about.
If you're interested in anything that I've talked about, pawcatuckneighborhoodcenter.org is where you can get more information. Stop by anytime.
All right, and I am Kristin Hartnett from the Greater Mystic Chamber of Commerce. If you are a nonprofit organization, you too can be on Mystic Matters. It's one of the chamber benefits. So let us know if you want to do that, and we will see you next week.